And night one of the Republican convention is in the books with a mix of live and virtual events. Headliners like President Trump's son, Don Jr., made their case for Trump's re-election, and they painted a dark picture of what Joe Biden's presidency would look like. Mary Bruce is in Washington, D.C. with the highlights.
Trying to deliver the optimistic tone President Trump promised, Republican Senator Tim Scott gave the speech of the night.
We have work to do, but I believe in the goodness of America.
A poignant and personal message.
Our family went from cotton to Congress in one lifetime. And that's why I believe the next American century can be better than the last.
Former UN ambassador and South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley attacking Democrats.
In much of the Democratic Party, it's now fashionable to say that America is racist. That is a lie. America is not a racist country.
This morning on GMA, Haley pressed on the president's controversial record on race.
And he's not the most politically correct person. Everybody knows that. But whenever I saw something, I would talk to him about it. And he would always listen, and he would always work towards improving.
President Trump pledged to put on a positive event with a more traditional convention feel.
And ladies and gentlemen of this country, the best is yet to come.
But it was a promise Republicans failed to keep. The president's son, Donald Trump Jr., pitching the election as a choice between law and order or total chaos.
It's almost like this election is shaping up to be church, work, and school versus rioting, looting, and vandalism. Or, in the words of Biden and the Democrats, peaceful protesting.
And ABC News Deputy Political Director Mary Alice Parks joins us now to break down some of the night's big moments. Mary Alice, yesterday's theme was Land of Promise, but as you heard Mary allude to, the speeches were full of dire warnings about a Biden presidency. What did you make of that approach?
Good morning. You're right, there were a few exceptions, but big picture, the majority of the speeches were incredibly dark. The night was full of the topic of fear. A lot of the speakers said that American voters should be scared of cities, they should be scared of Joe Biden, they should be scared of protesters, they should be scared of Democrats in general. And the night was really light on any vision for what a second term for this president would look like. And that's a problem for President Trump. Because look, a lot of Americans are hurting right now, and he's the one in charge. You know, politically, it is hard to sit at the White House and try to blame others.
Well, on that note, you know, in many ways last night was kind of a referendum on the Democrats, and that worked well for Trump in 2016. But this time he's the incumbent. How unusual is that approach, and can it work given Biden's long political career?
Yeah, the president seemed to try to blame all of the country's problems back on the former president, Obama, back on Joe Biden. They seem to be running as if Joe Biden was the one in the White House, as if he was the incumbent, trying to say that Joe Biden just hasn't done enough for America or has made problems worse. But look, if you're sitting here today and you don't think the country is going well, Republicans just didn't offer a lot in terms of getting the coronavirus under control or ideas for rebounding the economy. And again, I think that's a problem politically for this president. He's going to have to show everyone that he has an idea for how to get things back on track.
Now, former UN ambassador and South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley and South Carolina Senator Tim Scott both gave speeches that are getting a lot of buzz. What was it about their messages that struck a chord?
Yeah, they really tried to stick a really different tone. They came back to that original goal of painting a more optimistic future. You know, I think that they did well because they said Americans should feel good about being Americans again. They said the country shouldn't worry so much about the country's past and shortcomings. You know, big picture, Haley and Scott are both seen as much more moderate members of the Republican Party, much more traditional Republicans compared to the president and his children and some members of his base. And I think that was their target. They seem to be trying to speak to those more moderate Republicans who might be leery of voting for the president again after the last few years. And they try to stick to the economy, where the president is most trusted. And they try to stick to their personal stories. You know, they talked in really powerful terms about what it was like growing up as racial minorities. And they said, look, they don't think the president is a racist. Again, trying to step aside from some of the president's more divisive tone and perhaps bring some leery Republicans back into the fold.
So what are some of the big events planned for tonight?
Well, look, Melania Trump, the First Lady, is the headliner for Tuesday's program, and that's a lot of pressure for the First Lady. You know, 4 years ago, her speech was widely criticized because there were allegations that parts were plagiarized from a former Michelle Obama speech. So she has a lot of pressure tonight. She's going to be speaking from the Rose Garden. That's a tough spot for her, too. You know, over the weekend, her team tried to celebrate that they renovated the Rose Garden, but those celebrations were really met with a lot of criticism because there's still a pandemic going on that's taking American lives every day. So the optics of spending time remodeling the garden were less than ideal. And plus, the spot of the Rose Garden is just really controversial. You know, Melania Trump is not alone. A lot of other speakers are going to be presenting from the White House this week, but that's raising serious ethical concerns because obviously it's a government building paid for by taxpayers and just not normally used for political speeches.
All right, ABC News Deputy Political Director Mary Alice Parks. Thank you, Mary Alice. And ABC News has complete coverage of night 2 of the 2020 Republican National Convention. George, David, and Lindsay will bring you the latest. That is tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern right here on ABC News Live.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.